What is going on, everybody? My name is Conor and Lorraine. Welcome back to the week of Hero or Zero. This is the Heroes for Hire podcast. We are back again talking one comic book character. As we do every single week, we talk their good points and their bad points, and we generally just give you a bit of a rundown of everything to do with that character. I am joined as always by my best man, Mr. Shaun Meighan. Shaun, how's it going?
Good, Conor. I'm looking forward to kicking back for half an hour and listening to a report.
It wouldn't be like you. It wouldn't be like you to kick back and do no work.
I'm the driving force behind all of this show, let's be honest.
Some say you're the juggernaut.
And some say, he's alright.
Some say, he was there.
Some say, Shaun, yeah.
I forgot him. So this, as I said, is Hero Zero. This is, I would say, everyone's favourite show, Shaun. I mean, I don't want to speak for the people, but like Monday, I've heard that's bad because you're talking in it, but this is my week.
Well, I don't know how to respond to this bit, quite frankly, because he's looking for help, but he's also insulted me.
So this is Hero Zero. As I said, we talk one comic book character every single week. I normally talk DC characters and Shaun normally talks Marvel characters. So it is my week. So Shaun's been on a bit of a run doing like all these different characters because he's leading up to a big episode next week in which you cover what, Shaun?
Secret Wars. I've got schemes of covering one of the biggest stories in Marvel Comics in half an hour.
So I looked at that and I said, I'm not going to do that because that seems like a lot of work. So
Smart
instead,
man.
I'm just going to talk about characters I like.
He's got me there, folks.
If this is your first episode, you don't have to do anything. You can just chill out. If it's your second or above, we'd really appreciate 5 stars, a like, a follow, a share. The hostage situation is still ongoing. We are looking for 150 5-star reviews over on Spotify before the summer solstice.
Yes, which is the 21st or the 23rd of June, or depending on how the sun feels at the time. Once we reach that, we will stop talking about the summer solstice. So it would be really funny if they got to 149 and then they were like, no, let's hear more about the summer solstice. I'll do solstice facts if you want. For every new 5-star review we get, I will do a solstice fact.
I think you have to do a few from this week.
No, starting now. Starting when I decide to.
Starting when we're on 149.
Yeah, you get one. Folks.
It's on this date. Okay, now back to the show.
It's summer, actually.
So the hostage situation's still ongoing. So the faster we get there, the faster we shut up talking about it. It's a weird kind of Stockholm syndrome situation that most podcasts wouldn't try. But we are trying something a bit out there.
Yeah, it's aggressive marketing is how I would describe it.
Yeah. We're not locked in here with you, you're locked in here with us.
Yeah,
kind of vibes.
You can't just pause a podcast and turn it off. That's impossible.
I don't think that I don't think there's any possible way. You throw your phone out the window. That's how I stop most of my podcasts.
But you go through so many phones.
So many. I'm spending a fortune on a weekly basis. So Shaun,
Rogan.
No, I would burn it. I would burn that phone.
I would dance on it, actually.
I would dance on the ashes. So, Shaun, we are going to start. I mean, I think this week I'm covering one of the most disrespected legacy heroes in DC Comics.
So this is someone that was like around in like the 40s, 50s and then passed on the mantle.
So, first appearance is 1960, but I would still say a legacy hero because it has passed on since. I'm going to be doing the original Aqua-Lad, otherwise known as Garrett, otherwise known as Tempest.
Right. Okay,
yes.
So this is the kid sidekick of Aquaman.
That is right. So the kid sidekick of Aquaman, a character that, Shaun, I'm going to say this right now before we get into powers and abilities, but Garrett starts off as Aqua-Lad and then becomes one of the most powerful beings in all of DC.
Okay. And how does that power scale to Aquaman by any chance?
I think he's just like Aquaman he's still talking to like a shark.
Right, okay.
This guy's like stopping the apocalypse.
Do you know there was a pub quiz question in my local pub quiz about who were the 7 original members of the Justice League, and 6 of us forgot about Aquaman.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Which tracks Let's be honest.
I'm going to say something, and I think everyone's thinking it. Shaun, why did you not invite me to the pub quiz? You know I don't know much, but I know that.
I've invited you so many times. I tell you every time it's
I have to run errands.
Don't try and spin this yarn. I think you'd be unreal on a pub quiz team.
The day gets away from me. I have to run errands.
What do you do? What are you doing this time next week? Because that's when it's on. Yeah, of course,
Haircut.
folks.
So his creators were Robert Bernstein and Ramona Freydon. And as I said, the first appearance, Adventure Comics 269, February 1960. Now, I'm going to start off this report by getting into some really weird backstory involving Atlantis and like underwater tribes, and I need you to stick with me because then I'll get back to the normal stuff.
Folks, I'm going to go make a cup of tea. You look after Conor while I'm gone.
So, the Idealists, Shaun, were a group of pacifists living in self-exile from Atlantis. Okay.
Is this how it feels to listen to one of my reports?
Yes.
Interesting. It's awful.
Now, I debated whether covering this, but it's really important for the character, so you need to know what's going on, right? So, the Idealists, they're a group of people, they live away from Atlantis, and they're like, we're going to not get involved in any of the wars that go on, right? Because obviously, like, Atlantis is always warred with somebody. There's always different places.
Atlantis are haters, yeah.
Yeah, haters, right? And the king, who was looking after, was King Tar, and he came into power and he ruled over the place. And however, Tar had, and Shaun, you're going to like this, an evil brother called Shizat.
Of course he does. With a name like that as well, of course.
Sorry, Slizat. Still not great.
Even more evil, in fact.
You're like, Shizat, hear him out. Slizat, fucking hell.
It does sound like 90s slang for a snake, though, doesn't it?
It does, yes. But it would like have some more Z's. If it's 90s, there's more Z's.
Oh, yeah. There's a silent Z in there as well somewhere.
So the history of Atlantis is fraught with a recurring theme, brother against brother, and King Tar is no exception. His brother, Slizat, thought the power should be his, and he resented his brother from taking it from him, Shaun. We've heard it a million times. So, Slizat basically gets involved in necromancy, learns all the bad stuff. You know all this, Shaun, as well. It's basically every one of these stories.
It's natural progression, honestly.
I hate my brother. Necromancy.
But literally, that's like Cain and Abel. Like, that's Bible shit that they're doing.
If I hate my brother and I learned some necromancy, I would just like talk to a skeleton about how much of a dickhead he was. I wouldn't use it for any evil.
Not at all. You'd use it for self-help, is how you do.
I just need another
I wouldn't
ear.
be corrupted by necromancy, personally.
Personally, I'm better than that. But
everyone else in history has been
I'm just
corrupt.
built different. What can I say? So, fearing that his brother was about to attack, his brother, by the way, banished from the city because he's so evil, and then King Tar's like, he's definitely going to attack. Tar assembles an armoury of weapons specifically designed to stop his brother. The Idealists in the city, however, they thought he was going insane. They're not happy with this. They're peace-loving people. And they killed their once-beloved king because they revolted.
So but over his fears were genuine of like, oh, my brother's going to attack because he's a bad dude.
Yeah.
But they just saw it as like, oh, the king has gone mad.
Exactly. And fearing the monarchy was now tainted, the Idealist banished his now pregnant wife, who found her way to Atlantis and gave birth to a son who she named Garrett. So he was able to, however, Shaun, and this, we're going to have to bear with me here. The baby had a spell put on it by Slizat when it was within the mother's womb.
The old unborn child spell.
Upon giving birth to Garrett, Bera gazed upon his purple eyes, which were the Idealist mark of power, and the Atlantean authorities were horrified by the child's birth and his purple eyes, which were a sign of like either great power, great evil, that kind of thing, right? They don't trust it.
Right, it'd be easier if he was born with regular eyes.
Yeah, and he's also seen as physically and mentally inferior. So they're like, this lad's a dickhead, get the baby out of here. So they even then force the child to, the mother actually, sorry, I should say, Bera, then agrees with them because she's like, I want to stay. They're like, either both of you leave or you get rid of your child. So as the only way to save her people, Bera allows the child to be taken from her and he's sentenced to death by exposure on the Mercy Reef.
The child is sentenced to death?
Yes.
And he only just born?
Yes.
It's kind of like Sparta.
Yes.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Okay, and the Mercy Reef, is that where, like, the reef, like, recedes and then people suffocate in the air?
Miraculously, the tiny baby survived the abandonment and spent his childhood in the open sea. After spending 10 years fending for himself, Garrett's life intersected with another cursed infant abandoned at the Mercy Reef. This was Orin II of Atlantis, the hero that the surface world had dubbed Aquaman, Shaun.
Ah, okay. And is he also a kid at this time?
No, he's a grown man at this time, so he takes him in.
I see. Okay.
So Garrett's first appeared, as I said, back in 1960, before Aquaman even had his own series. With the addition of Aqua-Lad, this basically meant Aquaman had a fantastic world of like a family structure, because he has Mera, he's now got Aqua-Lad, Garrett, and Tula, who's Aqua-Lad's girlfriend or love interest, even though I think he's like 10 to be honest. So it's weird, right? But there's a family structure. It's 1960s, it's all happy. Often during this era in comics or cartoons, you'd see a very deliberate traditional family roles for the characters wedged into place. There's also often a lovable animal mascot, which Aquaman also had in the form of Topo, who was his pet octopus.
Nice. Okay. Well, if you're underwater, animal mascots, you got to have a billion of them as well.
Can't really throw a dog under there.
Nah, it's tough. We've tried. Me and you have tried in our private time.
No matter how good a boy he is, it doesn't work.
Can't hold his breath.
He's weak. Aqua-Lad was depicted as very young in these stories, even younger than the other youthful sidekicks like Robin. Why this was, I couldn't really tell you, but he was a full participant in all of Aquaman's adventures, and it would also seem as like more heroic because he's such a young character. He was like maybe 10 or 11. So Aqua-Lad was, of course, also one of the first members of the Teen Titans. He was a founding member of that team. Since he was one of the relatively small number of sidekicks at the time, that he was one of the first in. This is also where the character seems to start to lose a bit of his coherence, because all those classic Aquaman stories were like such wild, like otherworldly, Flash Gordon kind of stuff, undersea landscapes and all, and suddenly they were attempting to use that character in a much more real world stories alongside all the other Titans with the Teen Titans. So
he's able to go on land and stuff like that and exist in the human world.
It also says a lot that Robin and Speedy would be considered the more realistic parts of the Teen Titans. When compared
Speedy
to him.
is the most realistic character, let's be honest.
He's so sad. Oh God.
Give in to that sweet, sweet H.
If anyone hasn't... Oh God. If anyone hasn't listened to our report on Speedy, that man has a tough life.
Just one of the worst lives in comics. It's insane.
My favourite part of that report is whenever we do arm watch. At this point, 2 arms.
2 arms, he's 2 arm. Oh no, suddenly. Oh, it's all changed.
Also, the Teen Titans were teenagers, not kids, and the Titans were growing up as the series went on, which worked for most of the team members, but didn't really work for Garrett, as he was already much younger. So they were all like 16, 17, and he's 10.
Yeah, so then like they age up to 18, he's still a 12-year-old.
Yeah, and I think it was like that for most of the run of the Titans, right on through like George Perez and Marv Wolfman years. He never seemed to quite gel with the team's aesthetic. He was a founding member because there was so little sidekick characters, but the Titans kind of grew in popularity and he just kind of moved to the side a little bit because they were like, it's a bit ridiculous that he's still there hanging out with all the 16-year-olds. Because if you've ever met a 16-year-old, the last thing they want to do is hang out with a 10-year-old.
Yeah, no, like there's a wild, like the difference between like a 40-year-old and a 46-year-old, not that much.
Yeah.
The difference between a 10 and a 16-year-old is that, like, they're different species at that point.
Like 16-year-olds, you're still an idiot, but you're like, oh, I'm way cooler than that idiot who's 10.
Yeah.
So Tempest, eventually Aquaman returns to Atlantis. There he discovers he deserves to be king. He takes over. Then Mera comes in. They have a little baby, a little heir, Arthur Jr. And with the added pressure of the new family, Aquaman had little time for his partner Aqua-Lad. So now he actually has a real son. And he's got the wife, and he's got the king, and it's all going well for Aquaman.
His life is all coming together.
It's all coming together. And Aqua-Lad kind of gets a little bit forgotten. And he never really felt comfortable in Atlantis anyway, where his purple eyes were still looked at with fear. And so in addition, Garrett also began to feel increasingly inadequate among his peers in the Teen Titans due to his dependency on water at the time as well, obviously.
Yeah, so he needs to be near water, contact water, and then have powers for a bit, and then it wears off. Yeah,
and where this kind of comes to a head is he's already feeling a bit shit, and then Black Manta attacks one of the capital cities underwater, as Black Manta is wont to do.
His usual MO.
And Manta succeeds in capturing Aquaman and Aqua-Lad, as well as the infant prince, Arthur Jr. And he then threatens Arthur Jr. and Black Manta forces Aquaman and Aqua-Lad to battle each other, basically, right?
Fuck.
So Garrett...
Can I ask, the relationship that Aquaman and Aqua-Lad have, is it like a father-son thing, or is it like older brother, younger brother?
No, when it at first started, it was very Batman and Robin. So it would be father and son.
Yeah, and like he's his young ward, kind of.
Yeah, because he is so young. So yeah, it would be father son, and then like as later years, it would actually very similar, kind of like how I would think of Batman and Robin very early on, and then Batman and Nightwing later on.
Yeah. Okay, they're more as equals later on.
Yeah. So Garrett, by the way, so he's in this battle, they're forced to fight each other, and Garrett is stunned by the ferocity of his friend's attack and defends himself as best he can until Aquaman formulates a plan to escape. Unfortunately, Aquaman was too late to save his son's life, so he ordered Aqua-Lad to follow him in pursuit of the fleeing Manta. Garrett, still hurt and shaken by the readiness of Aquaman to attack his young partner, refused to accompany the older hero and angrily cut all ties with his partner.
You know what, Garrett? Fair play to you, honestly, because that's fucked what he did to you.
You're just kicking the shit out of a kid.
Yeah, and it's like, I get your son's on the line, but maybe if you both teamed up against the lad making you fight. But
also, technically, like, I should be your son as well. Like,
yeah. I've been your son for like the last few years.
You should look out for me too. So in the following years, Garrett rejoins his surface friends from the Titans from time to time. He even fought alongside his mentor Aquaman on more than one occasion. However, a rift had definitely developed between the two. And however, then Tula, Garrett's one true love, is killed during a reality-altering event.
Garrett and Speedy are having a fucking tragedy off at this point.
Very similar times in comics as well. Garrett becomes massively depressed, and he exhibits behaviour that could be best described as manic. He has 2 near deaths back to back really quickly, barely surviving both of them. And on the second one, after his wounds had healed, Aqua-Lad went out in search of Tula, who he thinks is still alive. She's not, but he's going crazy, and was captured by a hostile tribe. And this is where I'm going to need you to stick with me, because
you need me to stick
now
with you.
I'm going to need you with me.
Alright, I'm in for this.
Because along this time, Phil Jimenez had been brought in, and he was working on a 4-issue miniseries, and he was working along with this as well. There was a lot of different writers involved as well, but Garrett is crucified and left in the path of an oncoming razor-like cloud that stripped flesh from bones in a matter of seconds. He strains against them, cannot break free, and is enveloped in the swirling vortex by the tribe sacrifice him.
He's still like a teenager, maybe, at this point?
Yes, he's a teenager at this point, yes.
What the fuck?
But Garrett did not die, Shaun.
Why would he?
Atlan, the ancient Atlantean wizard and father of Aquaman, had been watching the young hero for some time and seeing him in great mystical potential in him. So just prior to his death, his essence was spirited away to another dimension by the mage.
Conor, you're going to be surprised. I have no issue with that. I think that's a reasonable thing to have happen.
How many times has that happened in any of our reports that he's dead? Seconds before death, his spirit was no longer there.
And we've talked about this a bit, is that in the original issue, he was definitely dead.
Oh, he died, yeah.
But then 2, 3, 4 years later, another writer decides, jeez, I could really do it in Aqua-Lad right now.
Oh, lads. And his spirit, seconds, like he had bare seconds left.
Just right before, almost unmissable.
Just 2 seconds left, spirit disappears. He's not actually dead, don't worry about it. In this other dimensional world, Atlan taught Garrett how to harness his mystical birthright, because he actually is magic. Because
he was cursed by
exactly. So he has magic in him. He's never used it. And so, while little had been revealed of this rigorous training period, Garrett does bear one visible reminder of the ordeal: a stylized tattoo-like scars over his right eye, which is a cool look.
It's pretty rad. That's pretty fucking cool.
After a final test, a battle with his mentor Atlan, Garrett was informed that his tutelage was over, and basically he was like, "You're ready." To return home and aid Aquaman in repelling a coming invasion that's on the way. So Atlan explained to Garrett that he has a great destiny to fulfill. The young mage is to be the protector of all the sea's peoples, just like Aquaman is the protector of all the sea's creatures. So Aquaman looks after all the fish, and it's Garrett's job to look after all the people.
That's equally as important.
Exactly. And
also, I would say a lot harder than looking at.
A lot harder. You need a lot of magic to do that.
Yeah.
So he doesn't really like the idea of predestination, but he eventually accepts the wisdom, and he bursts through an interdimensional barrier between his training dimension, and he comes through, and then he would take the code name Tempest, because he says a cryptic verse: a haven in the centre of a swelling tempest. So that's where he comes up with the name Tempest.
So there's all this trouble and discord all around
exactly.
him. In the middle of it, he's
exactly.
solid, he's good.
Oh, it's so good.
Oh, I kind of fucking love this dude.
During the course of an adventure, Garrett was reunited with his mother at this point, discovering the truth about his father's insanity, because he was always told his father had gone insane, and then then he's told that actually no, his father was right. His brother was a Rogan, basically, like that.
Yeah,
he was actually going to. Yeah, and he finally,
weird hippies decided that he was insane.
Yeah. He also finally came to terms with the death of Tula, and with Queen Bera reinstated as the ruler of the Idealists, Garrett returned to Atlantis, unsure if he and his mother would ever have anything resembling a normal relationship. Back in Atlantis, Tempest resumed his role as Aquaman's right-hand man, and also joined the newly formed Titans with his old friends. And so Tempest then proceeded. By the way, there was a whole story where Aquaman had a lover called Dolphin, and Dolphin then left.
A lover called Dolphin, you say?
It's a woman.
By the name of Dolphin?
Yes.
Alright, just once it's woman named Dolphin.
I want this very clear: Aquaman did not have sex with a dolphin.
In this story.
Yeah, in this specific story. I cannot say in private, but in this story specifically, he did not.
That's fine. That's all I needed.
He was in a relationship with a woman called Dolphin. She leaves him for Tempest. So,
oh, damn!
Aquaman's ego is a little it's not great.
Yeah, you got the younger, cooler Aqua person.
So some friction arises, but they eventually get over it. But then Tempest proceeds to get Dolphin pregnant. And then Dolphin and him get married shortly afterwards.
Damn, okay.
Yeah.
Tempest is moving quick.
However, Dolphin does die later on.
Tempest. Can Tempest have nothing?
Tempest is the Speedy of the water world.
How many arms does Tempest have at the minute?
2. He's got 2 arms.
Two arms.
Arm watch says 2.
Okay, that's fine. I really hope it stays at 2 for the rest of the
So I wanted to kind of talk about one of my favourite stories. This is actually really cool. So Phil Jimenez, as I mentioned, in 1994, Phil Jimenez created a 4-issue miniseries spinning out of the popular Peter David run on Aquaman. In this series, he evolved Garrett into Tempest, an advanced Atlantean sorcerer with incredible power, that he basically made him the High Counselor of Atlantis and the best friend of the king. So he's like second in command, basically, of all of Atlantis.
Yeah, so he's not just super powerful, he's also like politically very important.
It was very well done. It was a very well done story and really advanced the character to a new level. But it's also really personal work, and this is a story I found that I think is like really just like really lovely. I thought it was important to say. So back in 1986, a new Aquaman 4-issue limited series was written by longtime DC editor and creator Neil Posner. The book did a lot of very cool stuff with Atlantis. It also introduced a very short-lived new costume for Aquaman, using like a swirling blue and white camouflage design. Didn't stick, but it introduced it. Behind the scenes, Neil was a gay man and he was HIV positive. So Phil Jimenez described him as his first mentor, but they were also lifelong lovers in a secret relationship in the 80s. And Phil cared for him until his death. And then in 1994, the year that he did his work on Tempest. So
that's really sweet.
His mentor passes away and then he does this work because his mentor worked on the Aquaman series as well. Phil gave Tempest a version of the costume that Neil designed. That's where Tempest gets his design for Aquaman. And then he came out in the editorial page of the last issue and dedicated the series to him.
Wow.
It was an act of profound love for both his partner and for the character. And I just think it's like one of the like most tragic, romantic, brave things I've ever known about. Like, it's so cool.
What an incredibly brave and also incredibly appropriate way of honouring someone, and also, you know, like saying to the world, like, oh, this is who I am as well.
Like, your partner passes away, and so then you take inspiration from what he designed and then create it. It's so good. It's such a lovely story.
That's such a good memoriam. That's so sweet.
Yeah.
So sad, but so sweet.
And I wanted to touch on that in the report as well, because I know that story before, and I was like, Shaun needs to hear that because it's such a lovely idea for the character, and it also is kind of a core part of what makes Tempest a great character. Once you understand that, with the creators behind him.
Like a lot of the times, the behind the scenes of why a decision is made is as important as the repercussions of the decision.
Exactly. So Tempest is an athletic young man, black curly hair, striking purple eyes. Over his right eye he bears the reminder, two tattoo like scars that are arced down so they just like, he's got the cool tattoos down his face. Shaun is looking it up because he wants to see how cool he looks.
Tempest, DC.
Here we go.
He looks cool. He's pretty rad, guys.
He's looking pretty rad.
He's pretty fucking awesome.
While he's had his problems with insecurity and self-doubt, Tempest is now confident in both his role as a hero and a man. He doesn't thrive on combat, as does his teammates. So like Arsenal or Nightwing might be very interested in combat. He instead does not do any hero work other than to help people. He doesn't really like combat in any way. He attempts to avoid physical conflict whenever possible. When combat is the only option, though, he will neither shirk his duty nor abandon it. He will, however, employ the minimum force necessary to get the job done.
Damn, so he's always going like non-lethal out of the gate.
Once you hear his power, Shaun, you will understand why he has to do that. Garrett is at times the conscience of the Titans and a voice of reason for Aquaman. Aquaman can be a bit hot-headed. Garrett is like, no, I don't think we should do that. I tell you, because of course he's a pacifist. He grew up
Right.
with all the pacifists. That's his people.
Yeah. He was raised of like, oh no, violence is not the answer.
Yeah, he's just kind of, above all else, he's just good. And I think that's one of his best traits as a superhero. He's just a good person. And he's just like, we should try and solve this just in the least complicated way possible, but we want to hurt the least amount of people.
Which is mad considering all he's been through. He could totally go full villain whenever he wanted.
Yes, absolutely. And also, powers and abilities, Shaun. I have 2.5 pages of powers and abilities if you'd like to know about them. So there's a real interesting before magic and after magic kind of thing. What I will say, the magic breaks him. So, Atlantean physiology. So they're an offshoot of humanity, but he's got all of Aquaman's things. So he's amphibian, he's got enhanced sight, he's got enhanced hearing, enhanced physiology, superhuman strength, superhuman stamina, superhuman speeds. He can swim at speeds of 85 miles per hour underwater.
Damn, that's 85 knots per hour as well.
That's 97 knots actually.
Damn. I thought it was 1-to-1. Can I just say as well, the Aqua characters, their like justification for durability and super strength and stuff is one of my favourites. It's because they can do ocean pressures. Yeah, the pressure on the ocean means they have to be stronger. Yeah, so as soon as they get on land, it's like all of the training weights are off. Yeah, so he can basically, to get more in depth into, like, obviously the sight is because he can see in darkness in the ocean. He can hear several times more acute than humans. His bloodstream is filled with an amino acid that keeps his body from freezing in the ocean depths. So he can go as deep as he wants, and he's always going to be at the right temperature. He can lift approximately 8 tons. He can survive at depths of up to 3,400 feet below surface level. He's got superhuman durability, so he just can survive. And he's got marine telepathy, so he's able to control and communicate with all aquatic life, just like Aquaman. That's not involving his magic, Shaun. His magic powers are so great that he was able to magically teleport the entirety of Atlantis into the past at one stage. And the dark side once used him as a conduit to help open a boom tube. Fuck! Yeah, so I'm going to read out what he can do with magic, and he's got energy blasts, hydrokinesis, he's able to control water and just use it for whatever way he wants. Mystical detection, he can sense and locate the presence of mystical beings. Heat generation, cold generation, dimensional travel, astral projection, possession, telekinesis, invisibility, teleportation. Already so busted. And it sounds like you're going to keep going. No, he's got. I'm going to leave it there. I have like another load, but they're all just basically different versions of all of them. Yeah, fair. Dimensional travel. Yeah, so he's able to control like everything. He can just generate massive amounts of heat from his left hand, and he can generate massive amounts of cold energy from his right hand. So Shaun, cool. That's so fucking rad. He inherited the ability to mystically control water and water-based solutions, so he can create whirlpools, water columns, boil or freeze vast bodies of water at a given second. He's got, as I said, dimensional travel. He's been able to just open dimensional portals whenever he wants. Astral projection, he's able to project his own and others from their physical forms through his sorcery. He can just make you a ghost. He has possession. He's able to. Once he has separated his or others' astral selves from their physical bodies, Tempest can place them inside simple creatures, so that Tempest and his astral companions can control their bodies as if they were their own. He could knock Batman out of his body and then make him a crab. He could, yeah, and then he just is in a crab. And then then Batman is controlled by Tempest. Yes. Crab Batman. Good God. Crab Batman. It's finally happening.
And invisibility. Apparently, one of the first things Atlan taught Garrett during his mystical training was how to cast an invisibility spell. So he's able to just make himself invisible. And then the old teleportation. So if he wants.
Any weaknesses on this fella? Like
weaknesses.
Probably separation from water, maybe.
Power limitation, Shaun. So Tempest must return to water after a period of time or he will weaken. That's not to say he will die. He's just going to not be a god.
Yeah, he'll come back to normal levels of strength.
Just normal levels of shithousery, yeah. Garrett can bypass this limitation by drawing Meister from the air and replenishing himself anyway.
So there's no threat? As long as there's air, he's as strong as he needs to.
No, I have one weakness, Shaun. He's partially colourblind.
Is he now? That's going, just when he's trying to watch Ireland away, it's going to be so tough.
When he turns Batman into a crab, we're like, well, if we all wear green, he might think we're wearing blue. Quick, get him.
Like, but there's glasses you can buy that correct colour blindness.
Yeah, and also like he can see for like 7 miles in every direction, so it doesn't matter.
Some crack if he couldn't see blue. Like the whole ocean is grey to him.
Oh man, so that is my report on Tempest or Garrett or Aqua-Lad, whichever one you prefer.
I think I like him as Tempest. Like, he's his own character and he's objectively better than Aquaman.
Now, I love other Aqua-Lads. So in Young Justice, there's an Aqua-Lad who I really love. That's probably that's probably the best Aqua-Lad that I know. So you have Aqua-Lad there, but I love when he becomes Tempest because it's actually just very Robin to Nightwing, Dick Grayson style, where like he grows out of that role and then he becomes like his own thing.
Identity.
And his own identity, by the way, is like way stronger than Aquaman, but nobody says it.
No one's really addressing that because Aquaman's king really, or whatever. But
he really should be king, to be honest. To be fair,
second Aquaman dies.
like he'd be super calm. He'd actually be like he was solve all problems.
King, the dream.
He'd be actually the best king ever. But we're not going to get into that. I don't want to get into politics of Atlantis. But look, I'm just saying.
I think maybe consider vote for Garth. You know,
vote for Garth is a vote for peace, not against Aquaman. The prick.
That was a really good report, Conor. Do you want me to take us out?
Yeah, sure, why not?
Thank you, everyone, for listening to this episode of Hero or Zero. We will be back on Monday with an episode of the Heroes for Hire podcast, and next Friday, with another episode of Hero or Zero. Big thank you to everyone over on Patreon. That's patreon.com/Heroes for Hire podcast. Link to that is in the description. Heading over there if you want to support the show. There is also the merch store, heroesforhire.ie/shop. Twitter is at Heroes for Hire pod. The 4 is the number 4. Facebook is Detective Divilment's discussion group. Instagram is Heroes for Hire podcast. The best way to ever help out the show is to tell one human being that we exist.
Just by the way, I just read in his magic thing, it said he once created a boom tube powerful enough to send Imperiex back to the beginning of time.
Right, but, you know, his girlfriend died that one time, so
he's sad about that. Aquaman can talk to a fish.
Aquaman has an octopus pally hangs out with.
You just send him back to the beginning of time. Fuck off.
Don't worry about it. Go back to dinosaurs, you prick.
I just wanted to mention that because I just thought that was funny.
No, excellent. An excellent report, Conor. But I think that's about it.
I think so. So I've been Conor Lawler.
I've been Shaun Meighan.
We shall see you all next week, guys.
Bye.
Bye.